Welcome back to Enlightened Trading. I'm your host Conrad, and today with another look at the crypto market. So of course we were going to cover today the recent nice spike in the price of Bitcoin, and of course we're also going to talk about many things today, so definitely stay tuned until the end, because as I said, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. And then, for example, here one of my charts I posted recently. Of course, afterwards we're also going to talk about altcoins and where I think they are going. And in the end, we're just going to briefly cover the stock to flow model and data analysis on the price of Bitcoin. So that's it, and let's get into it. Okay, so looking here, as you can see on one of my latest posts here on TradingView, and I basically said that I'm watching two important levels between 13,200 and 300, and that they are important to hold. Luckily, as you can see, I pointed it right here. They held very nicely 2 times actually. I thought actually a break lower was more likely, but as you can see, the bulls did came through and held this level. And of course you can check many of my charts out here at Enlightened Trading. Okay, so jumping here into the price of Bitcoin on a weekly time frame. So the weekly is looking very strong currently. If we get a weekly close in this vicinity, then it will be very bullish for the price of Bitcoin in my analysis. So, and as you can see, we are now nicely above the prior resistance, sitting at 13,900 approximately. And that we are now more than 10% or approximately 10% above that target is a very good scenario. Okay, and I think that's it actually mostly for the weekly chart. The TI indicator is not telling you too much, but if we go to the daily, then you can see we had this 9 sell actually coming in. It did not have too much significance. I actually did pull any bullish orders I had sitting, so I was mostly neutral, leaning a bit more to the bearish side, yet we did see a very nice spike to the upside and a break out of this ascending channel, and I thought that this actually would likely break to the downside, but not too much. I was like a 60-40 that we would see a break to the downside, which of course, as you can see, did not came through. So the daily, we are now printing a green 2 above a green 1, not too important yet since we had this major spike. I think adding to a long position is now pretty, I mean, I wouldn't call it insane, but I think it would, at least it would not fit with my trading style, that is for sure. So the 4-hour chart, as you can see, is now printing sort of a bull flag. We do have a 9 sell actually here right on the top, which looks very nice and did send price into for now at least a 3 to 4 candle correction. We do have the possibility, of course, that this will prolong and go on a bit further. We can still see higher prices. There is actually the possibility for a bullish entry in this vicinity, at least based on my analysis. We do have this descending channel forming a nice bull flag, which usually sends prices higher. So I would actually expect pretty soon actually a retest of the level of $16,000 basically for Bitcoin, and most likely actually a break out of it towards the mid $16,000 area if of course this bull flag plays out as expected. We do also have a very nice retest of prior resistance here, perfectly actually at $15,300. so this would have been your entry if you are looking short for a short-term trade, but this would of course only be short-term. So Bitcoin here now on the logarithmic scale, looking at this very important line. So what do I think of it? Well, actually I think I'm going to cover it now quickly. The data size I wanted to cover on later because these two things are related. As you can see, we do have here on a stock to flow model actually now we are ascending again over and above resistance, and similar to what we had in early 2017, basically we we did have this spike into the prior all-time high around $1,200, and we are now again challenging that area here on Bitcoin, also in this red to orange phase, and are now looking again for possibly a retest of this brown median here, and this would of course currently sit at $22,000 to $20,000. So of course pretty strong. If we can get this retest, this would also then approximately coincide with the 20k high, so we might really just spike to 20k. I'm not saying this is a certainty, of course this can happen. Well, I do think we need some consolidation for now, but I do see actually 20k as a possibility, at least, to be challenged. I wouldn't give it more than a 40% chance out of a few possible scenarios which could happen, but I do see it as a possibility, definitely. So what I basically mean to say is that this is the above resistance line basically, and I do think that later on we can, after we get this retest currently, which as I said currently sits around $22,000 per Bitcoin, then we can have this retest and afterwards come back to this downward support line here. Very interesting in my opinion to look at this line, and that we actually come back down and retest this one as well. And this could of course then be in the area of $12,000, which would also coincide with the prior swing high of Bitcoin. So this would be of course a very bullish scenario if we can get into the vicinity of $13,000 to $12,000 for a retest. After we get this 20k spike, we can then find again, as I said, support. So either we find it now or we find it later. I don't know yet, of course, but I do see this as a possibility. We can though already be in this phase sort of, but I do think that compared to the 2014 to 2015 cycle here in this bear market, and looking at the 2017 bull market, I meant to say, then this looks like we are currently in this phase, as we are not above this resistance right here. We are still below it, but we are now having a nice rally towards that resistance area. And this is also what we are now currently experiencing, in my opinion, that we did not yet challenge this resistance, but we are approaching it. So we could have this retest here of this bottom line, similar to what happened back in the day. So this would be a very bullish scenario, of course, if we can get this retest. Okay, so that's it for Bitcoin today, and now we are again heading into altcoins. As you can see, this is the Ethereum chart. I actually did not, oh yes, I did see this weekly 9. That's my bad. So okay, as you can see, we are now again challenging a very important resistance line here around $444 for Ethereum, and possibly if we can actually hold this, then I would look for a challenge of the current swing high sitting at $488. I do see this as a possibility, especially since Ethereum seems to also pick up in steam comparative also to these other altcoins which are currently starting to rally. Also because the Bitcoin dominance is falling, so there's a lot to cover today. Hopefully you get a bit of time, because as I said, there's many stuffs. There's a lot of stuff to mention. Okay, yeah. So talking about the Ethereum price, where do I think we're going? Well, as I said, we are currently experiencing resistance, and also we do have the $488 mark. So I do see the possibility of just breaking through this resistance right here and challenging the prior swing high before then finding support again around the $415 mark. So this could, as I said, we could just have the spike towards the upside, especially if Bitcoin does something similar, and then have this retest. Or we can just blast through like Ethereum also likes to do. As you can see right here, we had this very nice and contained consolidation before then blasting through resistance once and twice, and then we had a short consolidation, but then we are now again challenging resistance. So as I said, these are the two scenarios: either breaking just bullish. Actually, there are three. We either break through 44 resistance, afterwards approaching 488, and then just blasting through, or we just get rejected now, which could of course look like this, and then we bounce around between, or we get this to 488 spike and find resistance. So these are the two scenarios for Ethereum in my analysis. Okay, Chainlink Link USD. What can we mention here? Yeah, so very interesting, because if you go back to my latest video, then you will see that I actually also talked about Chainlink, and that I would actually consider a bullish entry right here at support, and this was right here. I think I mentioned it actually on this day or the day before, and yeah, I think actually on this day here on the 4th of November, I talked about Chainlink, and then I would consider a bullish entry right here at support around the $9.8 to $9.7 mark. And well, I did not do it. I did see later on in the day that I should have done it, but that is okay. But you can see a very nice rally for now. I would now be in at least the mindset of taking some profit, but I most likely already would have taken at least 50% of my profit, because these are approximately 20% gains. So very nice to see at least my trade playing out theoretically. So what is now to be looked for? We are again approaching resistance, currently sitting at 11.70 resistance, and we are just below that target. I would now expect a rejection, or we can actually consolidate, which we are currently doing. So this looks actually pretty bullish for Chainlink to just blast through. Of course, this has to coincide with Bitcoin, but we do, or at least I see the possibility for this to just blast through. If we get a more prolonged consolidation and a sideways movement, then this will be even more bullish to just break through and rally into the next resistance area of 13.2, and don't know why. Okay, we do. Come on. So into the first resistance area, which I mean to say, so use this horizontal line. So these are one of the few resistance areas here for Chainlink, and there is not much else. That's not what I meant to do. So yeah, and we are currently, as I said, looking at 12.9 and 13.2 for the next resistance, most likely a break towards the upside, looking currently very bullish for Chainlink, or there can at least be made a nice bullish case. What was a bit concerning was this falling wedge, and we actually saw very similar patterns here for Ethereum and other altcoins playing out. We had basically some few rising wedges and also some ascending channels, which usually break to the downside. And as you can see very nicely here, now sitting at resistance, finding two-way resistance, once diagonal, once horizontal. So very nice to see that the chart is respecting that so nicely. But yeah, what I mean to say is that Bitcoin just was too bullish and too strong, and just blew through so many resistance targets that all these more bearish and price depressing charts actually got annihilated and invalidated. Okay, looking here at Euro Finance, I just looked at it on smaller term time frames. Well, very interesting for Euro Finance, and I do see the possibility to find support where we are currently at and actually have again another rally to the upside. I mean, I'm not too sure. Definitely, I'm not very sure here about Euro Finance. We do have still this very depressing looking descending channel, and everything below approximately $16,000 per Euro Finance coin still is a lower high for the weekly. Yeah, it looks like, I mean for the daily it's still a lower high, so we still have a lot of ground to cover before we talk about trend changes here on Euro Finance. So I would still wait and see, because this mostly looks like a pump and dump for, at least to me, it looks like it. So we can still have this spike out of this descending channel, but then shortly after we get again a very depressing sad candle all the way down to support, and maybe then again a lower high, and then again all the way back down and get this to zero. But of course we can just blast through, similar to what we experienced in the past. Okay, now finishing off with the Bitcoin dominance. Okay, we are now already going into 17 minutes, so hopefully you stuck until the end. So the Bitcoin dominance also looking very bullish. We are now out of this ascending channel most likely. Of course, you can still use other trend lines similar to this, where we are now getting rejected. this is dependent on your analysis, but this is definitely regarded this is definitely, even if you have a different analysis, a very strong move to the upside. This is for sure. So we are now, as I said, experiencing some short-term resistance. I do see the possibility still to go to my first resistance target, currently at approximately 70%, but mostly 69%. But before most likely climbing all the way down, all the way up to 73%, and most likely then above. So the Bitcoin dominance does look very strong, especially since we had Bitcoin rally much stronger than some of these altcoins lately, at least. So yeah. Okay, I think that's it actually for now and today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, definitely leave a like, and actually disregarding of you, and if you liked the video, leave your like and subscribe to my channel as well, and comment down below also. That's it, and I'll see you guys and girls, you people, back next time. Bye.